the Gospel of John, chapter 8. I want to start off this No More Gift by presenting to you a story that most of us should be familiar with. This is a story about the woman who was caught in adultery. She was caught in adultery, and in verse 4, John 8 says they caught her in the very act. Now, I don't know if you think, well, I don't know what you think that is, but to me, the best way I can say it here from the pulpit, they caught her between the sheets.
All right.
That's all I'm going to say. You let your mind go where you want to go. But they said they caught her in the very act. Now, in verse 2, Jesus was in the temple ministering or teaching. So they catch her in the very act, and they drag her in the midst of Jesus. So it's almost like somebody, they're dragging an adulterous woman in the midst of we're in the sanctuary. This is God's house. There are so zealous for their law. They're so zealous for the legal code. They're so zealous for the commandments that they drag her. No, they drag her into the temple, a place they're supposed to hold in esteem and worship. They drag her. Now, I can imagine if she was between the sheets, if they caught her in the very act, I would say at the very least, they probably put some sheets around her. You know, they drag her out butt naked and whatnot, but they probably put some sheets around her.
Okay. Come on, Pastor.
But you say be deliberate. I'm being deliberate. Anyways, and I'm sure they cover her up with something. They bring her in the midst of Jesus, and Jesus said, they said this now. They said this testing him, but I'm not looking at this part of testing him. I'm going to look at the main story. At least I feel the storyline is applicable for today. He says, Jesus, the Mosaic law commanded us to stone those who are caught in adultery. Now, what they failed to say, and what the writers did not bring out here, the Mosaic law, you're supposed to stone both the man and the. Now, look at these legalistic Pharisees and scribes. You can't go watch that movie. That's a rated R. No, you can't go do that. They hold only a portion of the law. The law says, if you're going to go with the law says you need to stone both the man and the woman who was caught in adultery. So they dragged just her in there. They said, Jesus, what do we do with her? And Jesus, y'all know the story. Jesus, he goes down and he stoops and he begins to write some whatever. You can only speculate what he's writing. Maybe Jesus drew a happy face. We don't know. We really don't know. Or maybe Jesus said, okay, you over there, the taller guy, the older guy, maybe you did this. We don't know what he did. The word only tells us that he stooped down and wrote something on the ground. Now let's get some key verses here. Verse 7. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said, he who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, I'm going to free some folks today. I ain't got to the core of my message yet. Jesus, take it over. They went out from the oldest to the last, out one by one, beginning with the oldest to even. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had raised up and saw no one but the woman, he said to her, Woman, where are those accusers of yours?